State of Michigan versus Gregory Simmons, case number 24 FB 1273.
Tiffany Woods for the people.
Good morning, Your Honor. Michael Vincent on behalf of Simmons, who's sitting next to me.
Have you had a chance to review the pre-sentence investigation report with your client?
Yes, Your Honor.
And any deletions, additions, or corrections to be made to that?
Nothing factual. No mistakes.
Thank you. All right, from the people.
Judge, I also had an opportunity to review the pre-sentence report recommendation, and I believe that the complaining witness, Sean Rice, may be present to make a statement to the court. And I believe he's also requesting restitution. I don't have the total amount. I don't know if that's the total amount at this time, so I would ask the court to reserve restitution at sentencing, Judge, as well.
So the restitution information that we have says $77,457. And you're telling me you don't know if that's the total number?
Judge, I don't have that. I was just emailed some restitution documents this morning. I believe from what he paid out of pocket was different from what came from the insurance, but Judge, I'd have to sit down and look at all those documents. There's like 3 different documents that I just got emailed to me this morning. So that's why I'd ask for restitution to be reserved.
All right, thank you. All right, is Mr. Sean Rice present? If so, please unmute at this time if you want to make a statement. And
I am present.
If you want to, you can turn your camera. It's completely up to you, sir.
Just to indicate to the reports, the amount for restitution was about $4,900. The $77,000 was the amount of the surgery. Out of pocket, I have just about $4,900, which is what I sent over this morning or last night regarding that. And it's $4,182 that comprises medication, mileage, doctor visits, and equipment that I had to buy for physical therapy. Other than that, the insurance has covered everything at about 100%. So I think the total was just over almost $90,000. This has been, I'm going to hope to get through this without breaking down. This has been really traumatic for me and my family. This man chased me down for 10+ miles, stopped twice. I had called 911 twice on him. I told him the very first time, within 30 seconds of him walking up to my car, that he was being recorded. The whole thing was being recorded, front and rear. It caught the incident where I was behind him for all of 10 seconds, less than 10 seconds. And then he violently attacked me because I was behind him. And he didn't want to pull over when he was doing 70 miles an hour in the left lane. I didn't flip him off. There was no aggression on my side. There was no anger, no frustration, no anything. In the video, you can actually hear me say, "Thank you. I can go about my day now. I don't have to deal with some jerk slamming on his brakes in front of me." And then the next thing I know is I think that I hit him. And so we pull over and he's coming at me and in my car within 30 seconds of stopping. And I'm on the phone with 911. He then chased me for another 8 miles, 10 miles to the Rawsonville exit, where he violently attacked me through my window without provocation. I didn't flip him off at any point in time. I didn't tell him he was a jerk. The only thing that I could have ever been accused of was holding my fingers up like this and saying to myself in my car, you must have a small unit. And then I was violently attacked. And for the rest of my life, I have to deal with a broken arm because this man attacked me for no reason. He's affected my family. We want to move. We don't feel safe anymore because we feel that he has our address because he was given our information unredacted at the last court case. So he knows where we live. And I feel totally violated at this point that I have no information about him other than his name. That's all I know about this man is his name and that he attacked me. And yet this man has my address, has my information, has all sorts of stuff about me and my family. And so we're going to sell the house and we're going to move. This is a huge impact. Like, I do not feel safe in my house anymore. And I want a personal protection order to ensure that this man does not come near my house. Because this has been seriously traumatic. I was telling the person who spoke to me yesterday regarding this,
Miss Johnson.
Miss Johnson, that I had realized for the first time I had used my right arm since this incident to actually use and hold a phone. At the end of that day, that man went home and he stayed home while I went to the hospital to figure out what was wrong with my arm, only to find out that I had 3 complete destroyed tendons in my arm. So for the rest of my life, this will affect me. This is going to affect him for 6 months, a year. This has been not a complete parity in the resolution here. That's all I have to say.
Bryce, I'm so sorry for you. So this was handled at the preliminary examination stage. And I'm trying to find out, see where your address is listed.
They gave him an unredacted copy of the police report.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
And I asked the prosecutor if I could have an unredacted copy of the police report, and he told me no. And I asked him why, and he said, because. And I said, why does he get it? And he goes, because he's the victim. And I'm like, well, I'm sorry, he's on trial. And I'm like, well, wait a minute, I'm the victim of this person who attacked me. I should know who this person is. There should be no doubt in my mind that I'm not going to go to a business where he's at, a location where he's at, his house. I don't want to accidentally go near him. This is horrible.
I understand. Probably better than you realize. I understand, sir.
Judge, I also just wanted to add that there was I didn't handle this, this guilty plea. It looks like it was handled in another court. I don't believe a Cobb's was done on this. And I know that based on from what I can hear from how the complainant feels and, some discussions or some emails that I've got that, we would be requesting some sort of jail time in this upfront jail, Judge. I just think this behavior is outrageous, that it came to this. I mean, road rage is something that we should never allow to happen in our society, where someone just gets a slap in the wrist. This is very concerning to the people that that this incident happened, and to the fact that then he went back to his home after. So we have very, very strong concerns about this defendant's behavior, Judge.
You say he went back to his home. I'm not sure what you're saying there.
Didn't he get your address and go back to your home?
He's not saying
I'm not yet. I can't
He's
prove that.
saying that his
Yeah.
address has been provided to him, to the defendant in this case, making him feel very unsafe. And he knows nothing about this individual other than his face and maybe his name. I'm other than his face and his name, and he has no way of knowing where this individual works, lives, shops, and he does not want to have any contact. He feels very vulnerable, is what he is saying.
I understand now, Judge. Then, we'd also ask, I know you're going to do a no contact with the complainant, but then a no go to his address as well, Judge.
Your Honor, I have cameras in my house and I can't prove it. I can't prove it because I don't have a license plate. But there was a blue car multiple days after he was released that drove by my house very slow several times. It was caught on camera. Again, I can't prove it. And being nervous and over this is what I did is I went immediately and I started watching. This is how traumatic this has been. I've been watching my cameras. Like I've been watching the street almost every single day to see if this person has driven by my house. But I only saw it once, and this is why I said I can't prove that it was him, but there was a blue car that looked exactly like his car, the same model number and everything, that drove by my house several days later. And this is why I made a comment. Like, I want a personal protection order. I don't feel safe.
So I can tell you, sir, that I can do what's called a no contact order. Personal protection orders are separate
Okay, that's
document,
fine.
but I will definitely do the no contact order.
Okay, thank you.
And I will say that I hear you very loudly and very clearly. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Anything else from the people? And Ms. Woods, I don't know if your victim advocate has been in touch with Mr. Rice, but it sounds like something that should probably occur. He seems to be making some requests that Ms. Wilson may be able to help him with, and maybe we should go from there.
Yes, Judge. I believe she's on here today on Teams, and I will also email her to give her a heads up about this, Judge. Thank you.
Your Honor, may I address the court?
You may.
Unfortunately, myself, I watched the video. I don't think anybody else involved in this discussion has watched the video of the incident. If they had, they would see that my client pulled into a gas station. Mr. Rice was across the street at a bank. He drove across the street up to my client. Rather than leave, go home, call 911, or stay in the bank parking lot, he drove right across the street and confronted my client. My client went over there. It appeared that he was reaching for a gun. He reached in and pushed the guy so as not to have pull out a gun. Mr. Rice slammed the door into my client, got out of the car, proceeded to swing punches at him, one after another, to the point that my client had to back up at least 10 to 15 feet to avoid getting hit in the face, one punch after another. My client then put a wrestling takedown hold on him. They went down on the ground. Mr. Rice said, "I quit," and that's the end of the fight. Mr. Rice swung at him first. Mr. Rice came across the street from the bank to confront my client. The video would show all this. I watched that video I don't know how many times.
Your Honor, he has obviously missed a great portion of the video. If you really read,
I didn't miss anything, sir. I did not
Wait,
miss anything.
everybody
please
stop
allow.
talking. Everyone, please mute. This is what's
Please.
going to happen. I'm going to watch the video myself so I can make a decision about what happened. And Mr. Vincent, I can tell you that if it is consistent with what the police officer wrote in this report, your client's going to get some jail time.
would appreciate the court to look at the video.
I will do that. We'll adjourn the sentencing. I will review the video.
And
So-
yet, it should be noted, my client turned himself in the next day.
Right, I understand. I'm aware of that. I did review the report. I reviewed the report from Ms. Johnson. I reviewed the police report. I've reviewed everything in this case other than that video. And I'm gonna review the video because the way the officer wrote in the report, what he saw is not consistent with what you're saying. So I will review the video.
I'm relying on my memory regarding that video, but I'm giving you my best memory on that video.
I understand, but what
And
I'm telling you, and I'm
I
being
understand.
very clear, so your client should be prepared that if I review that video and it's consistent with what the police officer said, he will get some jail time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sentencing in this matter will be adjourned to December 5th, 2024 at 11 a.m. in person. Bond will continue. Mr. Simmons, please state your name.
Gregory Brent Simmons.
Thank you. All right, we're here for an adjourned sentencing in this matter. I will note that I did have an opportunity to review each and every video that I could actually watch. And that was provided to me. And I also have received a sentencing memorandum that I actually read and reviewed as well. Last time we were here, we took a statement from the victim in this case. He is present in the courtroom today. Having said that, is there anything else you want to say on behalf of your client today?
Well, yes, I said, I think summed it up in my sentence memorandum. I think the most important thing in this whole episode is the fact that he got himself into treatment and staying in treatment over this. I also tried to find out some information on the complaining witness in this case. And I did. I sent this to the prosecutor, by the way, copy of the police reports and everything else that my private detective dug up. This case, CPS is involved where a young, small child was punished and hit with a belt. I don't know if there were convictions on this. I couldn't find that out. But you can find out the police report. That was 1993. Child, I think, was 4 or 5 years old. They had marks on his body. March 1995, friend of Mr. Rice's girlfriend needed a ride to a phone. Instead of taking her to a nearby phone, took her to parking lots down a roadway. And anyways, Mr. Rice got investigated and charged with CSC 4, some type of kidnapping charge.
Judge,
And he was arrested. booked in
Yes,
jail.
Ms. Woods.
Judge, I'm gonna object to the reading of these various police reports. Judge, he's talking about police reports from 1992.
I
Those
got
are
one
not
from 2016.
convictions. These are allegations, Judge. 1992, 1993. I mean, this is just, I mean, this is just ridiculous, Judge. You know, the
Well-
victim's not on trial here, Judge. The incident is on video. You requested to watch the video. From the video, we can see what happened. To bring up these allegations from decades ago is just, I don't believe it's proper.
I did watch the videos, and I will say this to the prosecutor as well as to the complaining witness. The video that I saw glitched right at the most important part of what happened. And I went back and watched it about 6 times. That glitch is important to me about what happened between the time that Mr. Simmons approaches the car, and because the court can't actually watch the actual video, it's only the Facebook portion of the video that I can watch from that incident because it's on a movie trailer that IT will not allow to be downloaded for me to watch the other piece of it.
Now, We saw the whole thing.
I don't know if you heard it, why I can't see it.
But you have to understand, I don't know how to use a computer, let alone everything you're talking about, Facebook. I'm not on Facebook. So,
Well, it's not on Facebook. It is a recording of the Facebook video that was sent to me by the prosecutor. I would presume you have that since I have it. And
Yes,
you-
Judge. Whenever I
Okay.
sent it to you, I included Mr. Vincent on that email, Judge.
Okay, all right. So the bottom line though is that the victim in this case is not on trial. Your client decided that he would take a plea in this case. And so for me, the part that is important is what happened that day.
yes,
And I'd like for you to focus on that part about that day.
my summary of what happened that day, and I'm going to go back to my former job. To me, this is classic mutual combat, and the loser always goes to the police and reports themselves as victims. I can't tell you how many reports I have taken like that. Two guys, hotheads, angry at each other for whatever reason, get into it. Whoever loses goes to the police. And that, to me, this is a classic example of that. Both of these gentlemen lost their temper. Both of these gentlemen did stupid things. My client is here, pled guilty, took responsibility for an aggravated assault. He immediately got himself into some kind of treatment. I've talked with him. It's been going on for some time. He's well into therapy. He's supported by his wife is here and a good friend, family friend. He has an important key job. He matches up organ donors with people who need whatever organ that was donated, and then follows them up. A crucial job. This could have been a lot worse. It wasn't. It was a fist fight in a wrestling match, and then it was over. I don't know how much you saw.
I saw everything except for, so I saw your client go over to the victim's car.
Yeah,
I saw that he was standing there. Then the next thing I see is the punch that comes from inside the car. Your client has acknowledged that he threw
yeah,
the
no,
first punch.
yes.
Yes.
And then he got
And
punched.
then
in
I
the glass
see,
and got-
I see all the rest of this
Okay.
terrible melee that happens in the parking lot by
Yeah,
two grown men. Yes, I saw this.
could agree with you more. His
Yes.
glasses got knocked off. My point is, does he go to jail to be out of jail? I think it's more important. I think the probation officer, I think she nailed it. You got a review coming up, I think in 3 to 6 months. Let's see how he does during that period of time with probation, with his therapy, and with his behavior, and then see if he needs jail. If he's doing well, maybe no jail. If he's not, if we see a repeat of this or some other thing kind of off the track, boom, jail. But he's doing his best to stop this behavior. I've talked with him quite a bit of time, and he got himself in the treatment. That's my proposal. Let's take a look at this, maybe 3 months from now, rather than, I think recommendation is 6 months. Maybe 3 months, come back here and see how he's doing. You'd have December, January, February, sometime in March. And if he keeps up with the behavior stuff, if it doesn't stop, it'll become apparent within 3 to 6 months. And then some jail.
60-day review is what we're looking at.
5 months, whatever.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
that's my proposal. I think that gives the court flexibility to put him in jail and gives him the chance to prove to this judge, to the court, that he's getting therapy for this. By the way, restitution won't be a problem. He'll pay the full, I think it's $4,700. I'll have him prepare, get a cashier's check. We'll get it over to the court.
All right, thank you. Ms. Woods, anything else from you today?
Judge, I know that I did speak about the sentencing at the last hearing, and I know that I've done my recommendation already. so I don't think you need to hear it again. Did you say the victim is in the courtroom right now?
Yes.
I don't know if he has anything to add to his statement that he made to you at the last hearing, and if you would allow him if he does have anything to add.
Anything to add, sir?
Yes, so since the last court case, something was mentioned in the court about how I didn't want to run into this gentleman at my work. And the answer is yes, I don't want to run into this gentleman at my work. And so that got something thinking, and I did a Google search for the University of Michigan and found that Mr. Simmons works for the University of Michigan, and he works in the building next to me. We park in the same parking lot. My overflow parking is the yellow parking, which is the building that he works in. So when we left that day, we left at the same time. We both of us, through the university, have to take DEI courses and de-escalation courses and how to handle other people and how not to be in public and not how not to treat people. This is not something the University of Michigan will ever tolerate. And I'm surprised by the behavior from a fellow employee of the University of Michigan. I've only been there for 2 years. This man's been there for 11. I've had it drilled into me that DEI is one of the most important things that we can do within our university and teach our fellow person on how to treat other people. This man's had 11 years of that training. What did he miss?
All right, thank you, sir. Mr. Simmons, I think we've heard from everybody except for you so far. Now is the time for you to say anything if you have something you'd like to say to this court before I impose sentence.
Tell the judge the truth. Stand up.
I'm in my responsibility in this role, and I'm shamed by it, embarrassed by it. I've done everything in my power to make amends afterwards. I immediately sought counseling, and I continue to go to counseling, and I think it's already been very helpful. My job is important at the University of Michigan, and I would be sorely missed with jail time. I remember in the probation sentencing interview or whatever that the defendant or plaintiff had wanted an apology with a no contact order. You can't apologize. I would like to extend an apology to him for my role in this. And I'm just really sorry this happened. I'd like to put it behind me.
Just turn to tell me sorry. All this time.
Mr. Rice, I apologize for my role in this activity, and should we ever run into each other, there would be no further response from me. I wouldn't even think I contact you, sir. You're on the answer.
What, sir?
The victim's advocate brought something up to me the last time, and I wasn't sure that I would do it. It was something, not sure what the program is. She mentioned about a year or so after he has completed his sentencing, if he has successfully completed it. There was a program where he and I could sit down and air our grievances and try to resolve this. They said it was a family thing. They normally don't do it within criminal court justice. They normally do it in a family thing. But I don't know that I was prepared to do it then. I'm not fully sure that I am. But I can't hold hatred towards someone. I have to allow him to leave this. And so I am to allow myself to grow. I have to allow this. So there is something that is available for this at the end of all of this. Then I would be willing to sit down and try to resolve whatever we have.
It's called the Restorative Justice Program, and you sit down at in a peacemaking circle and try to figure out, one, what it looks like going forward for the two of you, and two, hopefully try to make some true amends for both of your behaviors. To be honest, it was, so yes, thank you, appreciate it.
And Judge, I'd just like to make a quick comment that, you know, this is outrageous behavior, what happened, you know, and here we come to find out months later that these two gentlemen work at the same place. It just shows how small our world is, and you know, we get aggravated when we drive our cars and people accidentally cut us off, and you know, we're having a bad day. But to have this situation turn out the way it did, chasing someone down, assaulting them, and here to come to find out that for years they've been working at the same, right next to each other at the same university, it just gives you pause that, you know, you need to take a breath and not, you know, just look at two gentlemen that could have bumped into each other who knows how many times, and we're stuck in this situation, Judge. I mean, it's just, it's unbelievable to find out that these two have been employed and working essentially in this next to each other for years, and then we have this happen.
Thank you. So what I'm going to focus on is a little different. I think it's remarkable that we can get to a place after all of this has happened where hopefully someday these two people can make amends for their actions that day and try to come to some peaceful resolution for how they're going to behave if they do see each other in the future. Courts sit in a very unique position where they have to decide what should happen based on a person's bad activities. And I watched that video and I was struck by, one, your behavior, two, your behavior, just the whole thing. And I think we're lucky that at some point, both of you decided, stop this, let's go the other way, because this could have ended way worse than it did. And it's sad because it's a testament of where we're living and how we're living today as a community, that this is where we end up over a road rage situation. And the rate at which I'm starting to see these incidences is just insane. And I hope that we don't continue down this path as humans. Honestly, I do. I hope that we don't. Because you're sitting here with your loved one today, wondering whether they're going to jail, which in a way is fortunate we're not sitting here at a funeral for somebody, because that's how far things go. And a lot of people carry guns, and we end up with very different situations. I am going to take into consideration, Mr. Simmons, that you are doing anger management, that you have made an apology here today. I'm going to be honest with you and say that I hear you apologizing, and you probably mean it. But what I wish is that you felt it a little deeper, like you felt it in your soul, that you felt it for apologizing to him for how things turned out, and that he could apologize for you, to you, for how things turned out too, because without both of you engaging that day, we wouldn't be here, at least not at this level. He wouldn't be sitting there with an arm injury that is probably going to last for the rest of his life. And you wouldn't be sitting here wondering whether your life is going to be changed for the rest of your life. In any event, it's my job just to sentence people, right? So that's what I'm going to do. It's the sentence of this court that you serve 365 days in the Washtenaw County Jail. Credit for 1 day served. The balance of that time is suspended. You are, which means that you don't have to do any additional jail time if you do what you're supposed to do. You can't hear me right now, and I see you freaking out. The balance of that time is suspended. So you don't have to do the time unless you don't do what I say you're supposed to do. Okay? You're on probation for 24 months. You must pay fines and court costs in this particular case for a total of $975. You to meet with probation when and where directed, including any and all home visits, weekly phone reports, and probation group meetings. You to continue with the EDMR therapy and sign a release of information to probation. You're restricted from having any alcoholic beverages in your home. You must submit to, pay, and be responsible for random drug and alcohol tests as requested by the court, probation, or any police officer. I want to do I'm going to do a baseline test. If your client tests, is he going to be negative? All right.
I haven't smoked since the incident.
All right.
I believe he has a medical marijuana card also.
All right.
And I believe the discussions we've had have been about that also.
All right. He's going to test, okay, in the next 24 hours.
Do that community corrections are here.
Yes, community corrections. You to provide monthly verification, and if he's clean, then he doesn't have to test. If he's positive, he's going to test 2 times a month.
Should be clean, Your Honor.
You to provide monthly verification of compliance with all these terms to the probation department. You to attend your court reviews as ordered by the court and provide proof of compliance. You to make earnest efforts to maintain legitimate employment. You restrain from harassing, stalking, threatening, engaging in any conduct that would place Sean Rice in reasonable fear of bodily injury. There's no assaultive or threatening behavior towards him whatsoever. You are to have no contact with him whatsoever. If you see him accidentally, you are to go the opposite direction, okay? There's no going to his place of employment. I guess I need to make an exception for that. Your buildings are right next to each other. How many feet do we think that is?
I heard Orange, when robotic building is here, and his medical building is there, maybe 1,000, 1,500 feet.
The way I'm gonna do this is no going to his residence or within 1,000 feet. Of his employment. Building, I guess is the best way I should put that, so we don't have any confusion. No use or possession of alcohol, marijuana, illegal drugs, drug paraphernalia. Without approval of the court, you can't use a medical marijuana. You need to get the medical necessity over to the court for that approval. No use or possession of any firearm components, ammunition, or other dangerous weapons. And restitution is ordered. I know Mr. Vincent put it in his report. $4,900. Is that still correct, Mr. Rice?
We may have to adjust it. We're not doing 3 times a week, we're doing 2 times a week on therapy. So they decided on 2 instead of 3.
So you think it might be less?
It should be less, because that was 3 times a week for therapy times 6 months. So it should be 2 times now instead. I'll get the corrected information over.
If I'm informed of that, I'll quickly get a cashier's check.
Restitution is reserved for 60 days. And I'll see you back here in 60 days. That'll be on February 6th, 2025 at 10 o'clock a.m. And I should have also apologized to everybody today for the way the day has gone, although it was not within my control. You may have heard that the court had a threat and we had to evacuate the entirety of the building today. So I apologize for how much of your day it has taken up, so.
Can I suggest something?
Certainly.
I like these 2 men to shake hands.
I don't want to do that yet.
I think it's crucial though.
He's not ready. The victim is not ready for that. And I could tell that already.
No,
So, yeah. But at some point in time, he will let us know And when he's ready, then we can start maybe some healing process for you too.
All right.
Okay. All right. I'll see you back on Zoom, sir. Your next hearing will be back on Zoom. That'll be on February 6th, 2025 at 10 o'clock, okay? Mr. Rice, you want to leave first, sir? All right, thank you.